As the sun began to set, Douma and I got ready to leave the cabin for the night. My brain was still full of questions. What was that rage that consumed me earlier? How was I able to see my family? Am I different? I didn't want to ask Douma since I didn't want him to ask about what I was seeing. I couldn't protect my heart from him anymore. I was already invested, but I could protect my family from him. And that was the most important thing. Even though my feelings were growing, my trust stayed at an all-time low. I slipped my hood over my clothes and sat down onto the floor to put my shoes on. To my surprise, Douma sat next to me, watching me with soft eyes. When I was done, I looked up at him to see if he wanted anything. He grabbed for my hand and held it softly between both of his large hands. "I'm so sorry I made you upset earlier. Please forgive me." He seemed so sincere. I couldn't help but believe him. "Of course, I forgive you, Douma." I was honestly grateful he had made me so upset. It at least got me to see my family again, even if it was just a glimpse. He smiled and slowly leaned his face in closer to mine. It was like we were magnets being forced together. I didn't want to kiss him, knowing it would drown me more in this one-sided feelings. But my body couldn't resist. He captivated me, and my stomach was full of butterflies from the way he kissed me. His lips were soft, but his movements were slightly more forceful, causing me to solemnly follow him, rather than go about and kiss myself. He knew he dominated me, and he made sure I was aware. Eventually, he pulled away from me, and I felt my cheeks flush from the sweet interaction. He looked into what felt like my soul with his piercing eyes, making me forget what the evening plans were even about. "I really enjoy being with you, Yin. I tend to get lonely." Once again, I was confused and conflicted. My heart fluttered with every word that rolled off his tongue, but my brain thought twice. I wanted to believe him, but what about me was so special? How could I make this soulless demon before me actually form feelings for the first time ever? I softly squeezed his hand in acknowledgement and smiled. "We should get going." After heading west for about an hour, both Douma and I reached the small village, lined with rows of vegetables as far as the eye could see. "Here?" Douma asked, seemingly unimpressed. "We can see," I responded, hopeful that I could eventually pick up a scent. "Follow me." I began to walk towards the village, not seeing any humans outside. My hood was over my head, hiding my face, but Douma walked nonchalantly behind me, unbothered if anyone were to see him. He was slightly erratic, but if he kept his mouth shut and hid his fangs, I figured no one would be able to tell that he was a demon. "I've already got something," I said quietly to him as I sniffed the air, wanting it to lead me. "Oh, fun! I'm so excited!" he said rather loudly. "Psycho," I thought to myself, trying to taint the image of him in my mind away as I could. Regardless, I still thought he was beautiful, no matter how horrible he truly was. The scent had led us to a small shack that was very run down, yet had a beautiful clear pond behind it. The moon danced in its reflection as it softly rippled from the gentle breeze of the night. The smell of death was very overwhelming, and I honestly thought whoever would be inside was already dead. I knocked on the door softly, hoping for an answer, but one didn't come. "Douma?" He looked up at me, waiting for me to continue. "Can demons get nutrients from dead humans?" I asked, hoping he'd say yes. "Ew, Yin, that's not fun at all," he said, repulsed. "That wasn't my question," I snapped back, slightly annoyed as to why he couldn't take me seriously. "I suppose, but I think it'd be gross." He made a disgust face and stuck out his tongue, as if he were a kid who didn't want to eat his greens, but it made me giggle. As sadistic as he was, he couldn't help but be so innocently cute. Well, lucky for you, I won't share. I decided to force my way into the house, and by force, I meant simply letting myself in, since the door was unlocked. As I opened the door, the smell hit me even harder, causing me to wince. The house was simple and tidy, and with very few things accompanying it. In the corner laid a man in a futon, which I could tell was still breathing. "Who are you?" the man asked in a weak voice. I turned to see what Douma was doing, and unconditionally, he was waiting behind the door that I left ajar. I motioned him for him to follow me, and brought my finger up to my lips to tell him to be quiet. I knelt down next to the human, letting down my hood. "Oh, you're no human," he said, yet he didn't even seem bothered. "No, sir, I'm a demon," I told him, and he chuckled as best he could, which quickly turned into a weak cough. "I know I don't have much time. I'm assuming you're going to eat me." His words shocked me. For a moment, I hesitated, not sure of what I wanted to say. "Do you have a death wish?" I asked him, as I reached for his frail hand that laid over the corner of his futon. His misty, contracted, filled eyes studied me. His hand was cold, and his pulse was weak. Douma had knelt right next to me, but the man seemed unbothered by his presence. "Blood demon art. Ukror luck." With my other hand, I grabbed onto Douma's hand, knowing that he would be able to see what I saw if I touched him. "Wow." I heard Douma breathe as we both looked at the terror in this man's body. His heartbeat was slow, his organs had deteriorated, and an overwhelming amount of blood cells had gathered in a certain area, creating masses that were blocking certain organs from functioning properly. I let go of Douma's hand as I felt him now looking at me in amazement. "Well?" I asked the man again, since he hadn't answered my question earlier. He began, seemingly to be lost in thought. I was patient with him, but I could tell his minutes were whistling away. "I just want to walk again, far enough so that I can dip my feet into the fresh spring behind my house and look at the moon one last time. I'm the last one alive in my family. I'm all by myself," he exclaimed. "I think I can help you with that. I just have one favor. I need a vial of your blood. That is all I ask." He smiled at me. His expression was kind, and I could sense he trusted me. "You can take as much as you need. Take it all, if you must." I smiled back as I hovered my hand over him. "This won't hurt one bit. Demon blood art. God's lullaby." He blinked rapidly, probably surprised at his newfound vision. He then sat up as tears rimmed his eyes. Thank you," he cried as he stood and walked effortlessly out of the house. Through the window, I saw him fall to his knees in the soft grass as he let his hands run through it. "What do we do now?" Douma asked in his typical happy-go-lucky voice. "Well, I just have to wait until their time is up. Then they'll get their comfort. I'll draw some blood and sing the lullaby that puts them to sleep. Forever." He simply nodded. I could tell he was holding back from saying something that would upset me, which I appreciated. Then I peered outside to see the old man's whereabouts. He was exactly where he said he'd be. Feet dipped into the springs, letting the soft moonlight paint his skin. I felt bad for this man. He was going to die alone, although he'd soon be reunited with his family. It broke my heart to know that he was all by himself. "His time is almost up," I said quietly. I felt pain in my heart because I didn't know how to tell him that this was the end. 30 minutes goes by incredibly fast for someone who wants forever. He was already walking back into his house when he looked into my mismatched eyes. His were filled with tears, and his eyes were swollen red, as if he had been crying this whole time. He didn't say anything. He simply laid back onto his futon and closed his puffy eyes. I knelt next to him and softly gripped his shoulder. "It's going to be okay," I told him quietly. My words probably wouldn't help, but I didn't know what else to say. "If you looked human, you'd look like my daughter," he began. His words shocked me. I wasn't expecting to hear that. "I had to bury her when she was 19. My wife died 5 years later, and I've been by myself ever since." He stopped crying to explain, but his voice was cracking from emotion. "I want to be with them again, but I'm so scared of dying." His tears began again, and I was extremely unsure how to deal with the situation. "Dying will not hurt, sir," I began, hoping my words wouldn't make his grief worse. "It'll be like falling asleep and starting a dream. You'll be with your family, and this time, you won't have to worry about them going away. They're waiting for you." I squeezed onto his hand, and he finally looked up at me, his smile, and took a breath. "You're all right." I took out 3 syringes and began my lullaby. I pulled 3 vials by the time the song was completed. Seconds before his heart stopped, he spoke one last time. "Thank you," he said, almost inaudibly. I said a quick prayer and checked to make sure his pulse was gone. "Sorry, Douma, but you're not gonna like this one. Blood Demon Art. Heavenly Flames." His body went up into blue flames, quickly degrading into ashes, and when the flames extinguished, his ash spun into a tornado and formed themselves into a small urn. I picked it up and set it on the table and told Douma it was time to go. "I don't see why you won't simply eat them, Yin. It would be much less work," he announced as we walked back outside. "I already told you. That's not what I do." OMGs, I realized that when I was reading this, my voice seemed so raspy. Ugh, I'm so sorry if my voice started sounding really badly. It doesn't normally sound like that. But hey guys, I'm back! So you've probably been wondering where I've been. I have been taking a little break because holy moly, work has been on my back. Whew. But anyways, scheduling will go normal as always. Douma will be from Monday through Friday, and Muzan will be through Saturday and Sunday. And, of course, My Hero Academia fans will have theirs. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. I love you all so much. Bye! Mwah!